Hi everybody, welcome back to those who have been hanging with me some time, and welcome to those of you who are new to my channel. I'm Adele Levine, intuitive and medium. All right, so here is my mug of choice. I will say this is a little bit rustic, a little bit old world. Boring water inside, but it reminds me a little bit of the Witcher 3 game, which maybe I should replay. And I also want to get to some housekeeping. I am teaching a class this Saturday, the 27th, on how to use energy with crystals, or how to use crystal energy. So whatever crystals you have, this class is good for you. I'm not going to be going like, these are the crystals you need. In order to do these, you must obtain these crystals. This isn't what this class is going to be about. It's going to be about how you can use energy and crystals. Sorry, reverse that. How to use crystals energy. Because I use the energy of crystals when I am doing my readings and other things, and how you can use them as wands and all kinds of things. So basically, like, what can you do with them? There are many, many other classes on properties and what they are, and there's lists. This is going to be a little bit more like, what are useful to you? How can you use them? So that will be this Saturday. My 50% off of all readings with the code PEACE is only going to be available till about April 15th, so the middle of April. So take advantage of that now. Let's get to the subject at hand. So I put a little poll out here on YouTube and on Instagram. And what the poll was, which subject did you want me to do second? Don't worry, I'm going to do the other subject, but I just meant like for this week. And it was between star seeds and what to look for in readings. So on Instagram, it was a full blowout of people wanted to know what to look for in a reader. And here it was kind of an eked out a win. And there was definitely a lot of interest in star seeds, which I will do. Don't fear, I will do that. But today we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, which is what to look for when you are looking for a reader. So let's get to it. Okay. First of all, when you are looking for a reader and you're going to get a reading, and I am speaking, obviously I am practicing what I preach, you want to find someone that you probably refer to, or you've done your own kind of feels out. So in other words, if it is someone you find online, if it is someone you don't find online, you want someone that you feel like you've kind of vetted yourself, either through a referral. Referrals are awesome. That's a great way. That is actually how a lot of people find me. But even people who are finding me here on YouTube or Instagram, it's kind of like a referral because people are doing their own research. I've had people come to me who waited a whole year before they're like, I've checked you out and I really feel comfortable. So what's really important is that you feel comfortable. You can even have 10 people, and even though it's a referral, that tell you how great someone is, if you aren't vibing, then that's not the person for you. So number one is making sure you know about what they do and what they have to offer, and if that's fitting for you. A referral is nice, and you getting a referral can make you feel comfortable. But then again, don't fret if you're like, someone gave me a referral, but I just didn't vibe it. That's totally fine. You know what I'm going to say? Always, always use your own intuition and your own sense. If this person doesn't feel right to you, then you shouldn't go to this person. However, knowing that beforehand is important. What you don't want to do, which I saw recently in a documentary and a show about readers who take advantage of people, which there are plenty who do, is go in that little sign in the window that's like, psychic reading, $5, kind of a flag. Just telling you, when it's like a sign in the window or neon signs flashing, and this isn't a diss to people who do this, it is more often common that these are going to be people take advantage of you. The other thing you want to look for when you're getting a reading and you're picking out a reader is the reader cold reading. Cold reading. Let's put up cold reading. Cold reading. What is cold reading? So cold reading is when someone, let's say you go in for a reading and the person starts asking you questions, but Not like ask you questions like, what do you want to know? What is it you're looking for? Which I do a lot in my readings too. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about people who kind of start saying things to you that you already said, and they don't acknowledge it. Okay, so let me show you for an example. A cold reader will say, hey, how you doing? Oh, where'd you get those shoes? You're like, oh, I got those shoes at Kohl's. Oh, really? Which one? The one over here? You're like, oh, no, the one over here. And they kind of get you talking. And next thing you know, you're very comfortable and you're talking about a lot of stuff. Now the reading begins and they start saying things like, spending money on clothes and shoes is just probably not a great idea for you to do right now. It's like they're dropping in things you already told them. They'll never acknowledge it, and you'd be surprised at how much people tend to forget. In my experience, it's been harder to stay ethical in getting people to stay with me by even telling them at times, you mentioned this or you mentioned that, or by the way, your email kind of gave away what you do. I let people know. I always let people know when they've told me something. I also let people know when they've told me something and they go, oh my gosh, how did you know? I go, you just said that 5 minutes ago. That's how much people aren't realizing. So a cold reader will do things like that, but they will also be very general. Very general. So saying, you have an attachment to money. I have a solution to that attachment to money. Here's a spell. Here's a cleansing. Here's something I can do to make you unattached to this money. You have, curses, and you have attachments, and all these things is kind of part of a cold reading. The cold reading is to draw you in to then make you to want to get more. And it's not a free will feeling. It's a feeling of you don't get this, then your life's going to fall apart and things are going to go bad. And it's preying on people. So cold readers are very fast talkers. They really kind of get you in a place where you don't even have time to think. So they're not necessarily giving you space, to kind of take in what's being told to you, kind of figure it out. Many times I've had to say to people who say, oh, should I come see you soon? I go, see me whenever you feel you need. Let life happen and then come whenever you feel like it. Because what readers tend to do who are not operating authentically is try to find a way to hook you in and just keep pulling you in, because the more dependent you are on them, the more they gain. So that's the other thing you want to look for in a reader. Are they giving you space? Are they giving you room to process what you just experienced and kind of sending you on your way? Is this been on your own free will that you booked another session, or you wanted to get something, maybe they're offering? And I'm not saying people who aren't offering things like, oils or candles, because I can't say that because I have kits and things I do. But if they are kind of like presenting the things that they told you, these things are the only things that's going to solve all of your problems, that's a flag. If it happens to be that you go to their website and they offer these things, or you see that in their office, some people have that like in their space and you just see it, that's fine. The flag you're looking for is, by the way, all these things I told you in your reading, I have the solution here for $3.99. This happened to me actually in my early years when I actually went to a reader, but of course I saw right through it. One of the ways that I'm going to tell you that works in these situations that people don't realize is you just say no. And when they ask you why you say no, you don't give them a reason, because that is how people pull you in. If you say, no, I'm not interested, and they say, well, why aren't you interested? Don't you want this, family curse to be released? Don't you want this to be, healed or fixed? So you just say, I just not interested. Just keep saying you're not interested and leave. The more information you give, it does open you up, because we're human people and you start to feel vulnerable. How many, I'm going to ask in the comments below, and I know you have stories, how many people have experienced a bad situation like that with a reader or a healer or someone like this, where you have had that situation happen where you don't feel something's right and they're pushing it onto you, and maybe even pushing more. So comment below, let me know. Let's share these stories, because I love how people are starting to share on here, and we're going to build a place where people can go, oh, it's not just me. Other people have had these experiences. So speaking of which, when people are pulling you in and they're telling you things, I saw a documentary about a reader who told someone to write a very substantial amount of money. We're talking over $20,000, and said, leave it with me and I'll hold on to it because you're too attached to money. And the person did that. And I guess you can guess what happened. Giving people this feeling, this is what a flag you want to look out for. I know sometimes when you're in a vulnerable place, you want like everything to be fixed immediately and all the answers to be told to you. A reader's job is to guide you down this path and say, this is what I see. These are the choices you have. There is free will at hand. This is what I'm telling you. Take the information with, if you will, and do what you need to do with it, or do nothing with it, and then leave it. One of the flags that you can be very clear of is someone is pushing and pushing on you. So here's a couple of more. When people change things to make it fit. When people change things to make it fit. So if you say, okay, let's say they say, oh, I see you're going to, be an astronaut. You're like, that's never been a desire of mine. And they're like, you're right. It's not an astronaut. Actually, what I meant was, that's a cold reading trick as well. And that's something a lot of readers do. A reader who really feels they see something will stick to what they see, even if they look wrong, even if they look silly, even if you don't believe them. They're like, that's just what I see. They won't push it on you. They won't say, this is what I see, so you must believe it. They're like, that's what I see. I don't know what to tell you. I just tell people what I see. If you don't agree with it, I understand, but that's just what I see. I know many readers who are like this. And it is part of the path that you may look like the person is upset with you because you're not telling them what they want to hear and all of that. But that comes with the package. What comes with the package is you're not doing it to be liked. So if you sense the person is changing a lot when you say that doesn't match and then they change it to what you say, that's another sign. Changing things to make it fit is a big, big way people tend to go when they're trying to trick you. The other trick is saying things like, you're too closed, I can't get anything. Now, I'm not saying there aren't readers that have a hard time with this. There are, where they feel like, oh, wow, I'm just not experienced enough to really kind of push past your walls. It's not something I deal with because I'm okay with pushing and opening people up. But there's a lot of readers that are very uncomfortable with that. They're like, if they're not completely open, I can't read them. I'm more of like, I'm going to pull in and pull it out if you going to go and get this information. But it is true that maybe they're not experienced and stuff, but if they're gentle about it and they say, I just can't get a read on you. I don't know. It just feels like you're really close. And I don't. Some readers will even give your money back if they're ethical. A lot of them will. Some may not. Depends on how long the reading went. There's a lot of elements because there are clients, by the way, we call them psychic hoppers, that go to reader to reader to reader to get the answer they want. So it works on both ends, that sometimes there's a reason people are like, hey, you're closed. I can't really get anything. But if the person keeps telling you you're closed because this is why you are wrong, like, this is what I see, and you're like, this doesn't feel right to me, and they're like, well, you're just closed, so you're wrong. That's different. That's a whole different ball of wax, and I would stay clear of that because that's almost aggressive and pushy and a little bit manipulative. That isn't free and opening, and kind of saying, this is what I see, and I just gonna tell you what I see. The other thing, lastly, is telling you what you want to hear. So in other words, if you're like, oh, is this person love me? And you kind of have a feeling maybe they are not having good feelings about you, and they're like, oh, they love you. You're going to get married. You're going to get married on this date, and you're going to have this kind of wedding. And they just know for sure all these things. That's a little leery too, because you kind of are hearing exactly what you want to hear. It's not to say that a reader can't say, hey, I see the potential here. I see that you guys can come together. This, if you work on this and you work on that, you see the difference here, then, oh yes, it's going to be amazing. And this is going to happen. And you're going to have, 5 babies and and it's like feeding into exactly what you want and going, okay, isn't that great? All right, well, thank you. You know, that kind of vibe versus to, well, this is the potential I see. This is where I see it could go and things could evolve and all that kind of stuff. And it could be really great. This is the work you may want to do. And this work that he or she needs to do and that kind of thing. That's a very different type of thing. So when you're sensing like they're just telling you everything you want to hear, they're not helping you see past your blinders, because that's the point of a seer, is to help look past your blinders, then you can sense it. And bottom line is, everyone, use your own intuition. If it feels off, if it smells off, if it looks off, meaning sight here and feeling here, and just all of your senses are like red flags, trust them, because nobody should make you feel, oh, I know better more because I am a seer than you. Therefore, you should just listen to everything I have to say. It should be very like, here's what I see, do what you will with it. That's the energy. Pressure should never be a part of a reading. Putting pressure on you, pushing you to believe. So you know what I'm going to say pretty soon. So, hold on, what I close with. And I always believe this. So at the end of the day, find someone you feel connected to that connects with you. It's one of the reasons why I don't like it if someone buys a reading for someone and says, oh, here's a reading for you. And that person didn't ask for it, because a person needs to be involved in their own choice of reading. So even with me, I'll say to someone, someone says, someone gifted, and I'll say, is this what you want? Is this sure this is what you want? If it's not, I will refund that person, because nobody should feel pressure in any kind of way, because this is a very personal, and it is an experience where people are vulnerable and their heart's open, and it isn't good to put any kind of pressure or feeling like this is something you have to do. This should be a very free-flowing experience. If it isn't feeling that way to you, then this person may not be for you. I hope that helped. If you want me to do a part 2, let me know what questions you have, because maybe other questions are going to come up from this video. And again, please comment below and let me know your experiences and questions. And I answer them on here, but I'm happy to do a part 2 if you guys are interested. Wanted to let you guys know that I have a new episode on my podcast, Peering into the Narrow Room. This is an awesome one, guys. Of course, I know the timing. It is with somebody who is an expertise in crystals. She does sound baths, if you've heard of that. She even plays a little bit of sound bath on the episode to give you guys a little feel, about 2 minutes with her crystal bowls. She's a musician, so she uses them beautifully. Her name is Jenny of Dynasty Electric. She's really, really awesome. I feel like you'll enjoy this conversation. We talk about everything. We talk about Palladians. We talk about Arcturians. We kind of cover the gamut, and I might have her on to even get further into that subject. Remember, follow yourself, follow no one, listen to your inner voice. As I said, see you soon.